Welcome to the Michele Roys Show.
Hello and welcome to another Michele Roys Show. I am so delighted to have a special guest. You're not going to believe who I have on the show. I can't even believe it. I'm so grateful. But Amberly Lago is a USA Today best-selling author of Joy Through the Journey. She's an international renowned speaker on grit, resilience, and human connection, inspiring others to find joy through life's challenges. She has captivated audiences at global corporations such as Lululemon, Google, Herbalife, Plexus. Her TEDx talk has garnered hundreds of thousands of views, inspiring listeners around the world. As a highly sought-after thought leader, coach, and best-selling author, Amberly's expertise has been featured in prominent media outlets including People, Health and Shape magazine, Forbes, USA's Today, where she was named one of the nation's top influential speakers, The Doctors, Hallmark, and The Today Show. Her podcast, The Amberly Lago Show, ranks number top 1% and recognized by Apple, where she shares impactful insights with leaders and inspiration and inspiring others. I mean, she's amazing. Not only that, she has a mastermind group, and I'm so grateful that she's also a mentor to me and to many others out there. Amberly, you're very welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. I am so honored to be here with you. I always love seeing your gorgeous face.
Thank you.
I loved when I got to see you every week.
That was nice.
Yes, I love that. So it's so good to reconnect here, and I'm just excited to be on your show. It's an honor. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Amberly, when I first met you, I was through the Ed Milet show and I heard your story there and it really touched me because I felt like somebody that understood me, with your
Mm.
own pain and the whole journey that you've gone through. And I have to say, and I have here the book, which is Joy Through the Journey. I
Oh,
have read it inside out and outside in. And just hearing the stories that you went through, I think my audience could really benefit from the resilience, the grit, the love, the care that you have. And I just want them to be able to share a little bit of that. So from all of these things, where did you start from? Who was Amberly before the accident? If you can bring us a little bit through that journey.
yes. Well, I thank you so much for actually reading the book. And I love that you have all those little markers from where you have things marked in the book. So thank you so much. Yeah, and speaking of joy through the journey, I feel like I was always a very joyful person, even as a little girl. I don't know how, well, I think it was God, but I always knew no matter what, like to look for the joy, like to spark that joy that was already lives within us. But how could I keep that joy burning bright? Because like most of us, I didn't have an easy childhood. I've got a mom and dad who they did the best they could with what they had, but come from a divorced family. When I was 8, they got a divorce. Um, we didn't have a lot of money. And I was sexually abused when my mom remarried my stepfather. That's when the sexual abuse started. But there was something in me that knew okay, I'm going to search for the good. I'm going to search for ways to spark that joy. When I look back, and my go-to was, okay, what can I do that brings joy? And it was dance. It was being out in nature where I connected with God. It was running track, all these things that I did that really I just spoke at a conference over the weekend, and one of the questions they asked was, well, when was that time that you connected with God? And I said, well, honestly, it was more so out in nature than it was in church. When I was running around that track, I was talking to God the whole entire time. And I don't know if it was because I had a drill sergeant as a coach yelling at me, and I was just praying, just let me get through this extra mile, or what, but that's when I connected with God. And so I remember my go-to was, well, what can I do to make me feel better? So I became, um, a straight A student. I was in AP classes. I was the choreographer for the drill team, the cheerleaders, the drama department. I was president. I became in high school, Miss Greenville High School. And so when I look back, I think, Well, I became an overachiever to
Yeah.
compensate for the things that I did not feel good about myself. The shame, the unworthiness of not feeling like I was even worthy enough to be protected. And so, although that pain that I had from the sexual abuse and the shame and everything was hard, that pain pushed me into I had a goal and I had a vision of being a professional dancer, and that pain pushed me until my purpose pulled me. And despite people saying I was crazy for wanting to move to Hollywood to become a professional dancer, that's what I did.
Mm.
And I was a dancer and traveled the world dancing in companies and on in industrials and infomercials and commercials and music videos. My very first music video was I danced with MC Hammer and Can't Touch This. And that led me into the fitness industry where I had a successful business in the industry for 26 years. But all that changed when I had a horrific motorcycle accident
Mm.
and my career was taken. My whole identity was really shattered. The person who I thought I was, now I look down, I was told I'd never walk again. My leg is completely scarred from the hip down.
Mm.
I was diagnosed with a nerve disease. But everything that I went through, the hard times as a child, the trying to make it in the dance industry,
Mm.
building a business in the fitness industry from the ground up, being a single mom and doing it anyway, all those things enabled me to strengthen my resilience, enabled me to build the grit. So when something catastrophic happened, I still knew that joy was possible. I
Mm.
still knew that resilience was an option, and I still had tools to build grit. Now, I had to build a lot and learn a lot, and I'm continuing to learn and grow. I don't know how to do it all, and I don't know what I'm doing most of the time, but I know that change is possible and hope is available. And I
Mm.
absolutely know that no matter what pain I live with every single day, that joy is possible. And so that's what I'm most passionate about sharing, is that no matter what you're going through, no matter what adversity you encounter, that there are ways to get through hard times. And that's why I share so vulnerably. And
Yeah.
man, that was hard. This book was harder, I think, to write and to publish than even my first book, because I am so raw and real and share things that even my husband uh, maybe didn't even know. And so, anything that I can share today, my intention is to share with you the different ways that I still tap into joy,
Mm.
still build resilience and grit so that you can get through those hard times too.
Oh, that's beautiful. And it's definitely very raw, which helps me to connect with you in an even deeper way because I see myself through your story. I see myself like, yes, oh yeah, I'm actually hiding this or pretending that, or this is what we go through, especially women that are high achievers, right? We feel like we have to always try to keep up, keep up, keep up when our health fails us. And you said there about your sense of identity was completely stripped away, right? You
Hmm.
bring back in the book, you talked about how the denial, how you were living in that denial. And I felt that in my own life, I was completely like, no, this is not happening. You said you have your 1% chance of keeping your leg, and you were in that denial. What do you think helped you to move from that phase of denial to slow acceptance?
Well, I learned to accept where I was in a pretty radical way.
Mm.
So, and I will say that acceptance is the beginning of any transformation. When you can take a good hard look at your life, who you are, where you are, what your habits are, what is working for you. A good question to ask yourself is, how's that working for you?
Mm.
Is it helping you or is it hurting you? And I was in complete denial. I did not want to accept all the scars that I had. I didn't want to accept that I wouldn't be able to go back into training clients and have my career again. I didn't want to accept that I lived with this incurable nerve disease called complex regional pain syndrome, which leaves you in constant chronic pain. And I hear a lot of stories where people search for answers for a long time and they finally get a doctor that says, you have complex regional pain syndrome. And they're like, oh, okay, that's what I have. For me, it was the opposite. I went in for a checkup thinking I'm going to be good. Like, yeah, it's painful, but this is part of the process. And this is just part of getting through 34 surgeries, and I'm going to be good. And I had a doctor tell me, you've got complex regional pain syndrome. And I was like, no, they're wrong. I do not have that. That is not the life for me.
Mm.
Went into another doctor who was like, oh, you've got it. And I was like, no, I don't have it. The third doctor who was like, you definitely have this and you need to take radical action, is when it really hit me. Oh, crap. I cried. I felt like I'd been kicked in the gut.
Mm.
And I was like, well, these are the cards I've been dealt. I got to play the heck out of these cards if I want to get better. But I was still a bit in denial.
Mm.
And it was actually when I went into, it was about a year after my accident, surgery after surgery. I went into Dr. Wiss and I said, who is an amazing man. I love this man. He saved my leg when the other doctor was just going to amputate. I said, Dr. Wiss, thank you for all the surgeries you've done to save my leg from amputation. I appreciate the 34 surgeries, but this leg is giving me too much pain. I just need to move on with my life. So I need you to cut it off. And he's like, what? No, we can't do that. And I said, well, why? He said, well, you've got CRPS. If we amputate, it could get worse. It could spread. It's not the solution. And
Mm.
then he did something that changed everything. He took my leg and he put it in his lap. And my first thought was, oh my gosh, he is putting my ugly, disgusting, deformed leg on his nice white coat, not on the table, but in his lap. And he looked at it like it was a masterpiece, like it was a work of art. And something just shifted in me. And I thought, if he can look at my leg that way, maybe I can learn to look at it that way too.
Mm.
And I feel like sometimes we need somebody to believe in us before we can believe in ourselves, love us until we can love ourselves again. And all it takes is them maybe looking at us differently,
Mm.
saying one thing, saying they believe in us that changes everything. And from that day forward, I started to slowly but surely accept the scars as something completely different. Instead of looking down at all my scars with disgust and how much I hated myself and my leg, I started looking down at my scars as like growth and
Mm.
strength. And wow, look at how amazing the human body is, that how it can heal, and how unbelievably powerful the human spirit is, that we can move through so many trials and tribulations. And everything started to shift. And that's when I truly started to transform my life, when I got in radical acceptance for the scars and where I was and who I was. Because when we accept where we are, we can start to take action steps to improve our life, action steps in the right direction that are going to move the needle on our business, on our health, on our relationships. And so it starts with that.
Yeah, radical acceptance. It's beautiful. It's very deep, very deep. One of the quotes you have, like, if you insist you're not hurting, you'll never heal. And accepting doesn't mean giving up. Yeah, can you speak into that part of accepting doesn't mean giving up?
Yeah, I remember not wanting anyone to know. Like, I didn't want anyone to see my scars. I didn't want anyone to know that I was in pain. And actually, I'm still like this to a certain extent. I was on the phone with one of my friends who also was diagnosed with CRPS just yesterday, and she goes, Amberly, I just don't know how you do
Mm.
all that you do. And I said, well, this last year was probably one of the hardest years I've ever had with my health, with being in the hospital so many times, with going back in for a spinal cord stimulator, with trying to do all the things, put on my event, release my new book, do my coaching programs. I messed up quite a bit because I was pushing really hard
Mm.
and my body was saying, No, are you crazy? You can't keep going. You need to rest. You need to lay down. And it was like your body will whisper and
Mm,
then it will scream. Well, my body was whispering and I was ignoring. My body was screaming and I was ignoring. So my body was like, oh, really? You're not going to stop? You're just going to keep pushing through and gritting it out? Well, we're going
mm,
to shut your brain down and you're not even going to be able to like think properly or even speak straight. Or my body would just go into, and I'm going to just keep it real and tell you the truth, where I would start throwing up
mm.
because the pain was so
Yeah.
severe. And I would throw up to the point where I couldn't stop throwing up. And I would have to go to the hospital just because I couldn't stop throwing up because of the
Mm,
pain. And so I was in such denial. I didn't want people to see the pain. And I made a promise to myself that I have got to listen to my body more.
mm.
I put a pause on my own podcast so I could take care of my health more. It was the first time I ever stopped recording and releasing episodes in 6 years.
Oh,
It was a big deal. I canceled 30 interviews that I had scheduled. It crushed me to have to do that. But you know what? I had every single person that I had to postpone the interview that I was doing, 30 interviews,
oh,
reach out and say, thank you for being an example of how important it is to take care of your health. Thank you for the reminder that, you know what, I need to pause. I need to like have an area of my day where I can rest and reflect. And so I've been changing things up like that. And I've also been open and sharing more in my, like, even in my book that yeah, there are people that don't even realize that I'm in pain because I show up at an event and I want to give it my all and I don't want to focus on the pain.
mm,
But I just spoke at an event, and to be honest with you, I've been having a hard time because I showed up at this event and of all places to be speaking at, it was the annual RSDSA conference where it's one of the biggest foundations or the biggest that I know of for the nerve disease that I was diagnosed with. And I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning from pain. I was
mm,
supposed to be there to speak at, show up at 9. I was on to speak at 11. And I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this?
mm,
I was in so much pain. I was shaking. I actually threw up that morning because of the pain. I was like, well, what are the tools that I can use? Okay, I've got my electrolytes. I've got my energy drink. I need to fuel my body. I need to keep down any kind of food that I can. So bananas are always, and crackers, like anything I can keep down. And I was like, I need to call an Uber to get there because
mm,
I don't even trust that I have enough energy actually to drive myself an hour away to get there. So got an Uber, got to the conference. I had a friend, one of my mastermind members that also has been diagnosed with CRPS. She flew in to come to the conference, so she was there to help support me.
mm,
So I've learned like what are the tools that I can use right now. I had to openly share with her, hey, I'm having a major flare up. I'm just praying I can say the right things on stage. I got up on stage. It was probably one of the hardest events I've ever spoken at because you're looking out at an audience that is 90% of the room have
mm.
been diagnosed with CRPS. They're in wheelchairs, walkers, crutches. Some have blankets wrapped around of them. Some have ice packs. Some have cold packs. Some are like literally falling asleep because they're drugged up. Some are like drooling. And I'm speaking, trying to pour life into them when I don't feel good myself.
Wow.
It, I was after that event, I could feel the pain in the room. I could feel I'm so receptive to energy.
Mm,
I had a hard time getting off stage. I felt so uneasy on my feet. I sat outside to meet and greet people, and you got people coming up to you crying. And my friend looked at me and she goes, we got to get you out of here.
mm,
And I have not even told her this, but I'll tell you. I was waiting for the Uber and I was like, I'm gonna be sick again. I went and threw up in the hotel lobby in the bathroom, and not in the lobby, in their bathroom.
mm.
I went to the store again. What are your tools? What are the
Mm,
questions you can ask yourself to get through that moment? I went to the store, bought a bottle of water, asked for a bag just in case I was going to be sick again in the car ride home. I share this because before I never would have admitted any of this,
mm,
but I think it's important to share so people know that we all struggle,
yes.
but what tools can we use to get through those moments? Well, it's admitting that we're struggling. It's having somebody to confide in that can look out for you and say, we got to get you out of here. You got to go lay down. It's having my tools of like electrolytes, a banana, a protein bar, protein shake, whatever I can keep down. And it's also doing things to make your life a little easier. Like if you need to have an Uber drive you, have an Uber drive you, but don't do it alone.
Yeah.
And so I share these things because they're things that I have learned. And then, I've been beating myself up like, oh, I don't feel like I did my best. And I haven't heard back from the event planner and this and that. And it's like, ask yourself the question, did you do your best with what your circumstances that you were going through in the
Mm,
moment? Like, if you can say, yeah, I did my best, then let it go and give
mm.
yourself grace. And I say that because these are things I'm learning too.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And thanks for sharing that because it gives us permission as well to know we are on this journey and it is very hard. And a lot of times, especially like when you look perfectly fine in the outside, people won't understand the level of pain you're going through, but your body shows those cues. And I completely relate when I am having a really bad time and I'm literally just in the bathroom throwing up. And I just, my husband understands because he's closest to me, but other people can see these things and how I had to offer myself grace and kindness and even to say, I want to participate in life. I want to do what I'm doing right now. Like here's even for me, going back to listening to your podcast with Ed and saying, this is what I'm feeling. She's out there. She's doing something. She's using her pain for purpose. Really, really inspired me saying, I can do this. So I could finish my book. I can put my message out there because we are giving permission to other people to do the same. You gave me permission, Amberly, by speaking your truth, by being open and honest, and I'm so grateful for it. And here I am doing my little bit to do the same, but
It's
it's difficult.
amazing. You're amazing.
Thank you.
And you know what? I loved seeing that, yes, you are doing it. You're not making excuses. And, just seeing all that you did in the Profit in Your Purpose coaching program that I did, I loved seeing you in and how you showed up and everything that you accomplished. And you would send me, hey, I finished my PR kit. Can you take a look at it? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Hey, I've got my book. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. Hey, this is the cover art for my podcast. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're doing it.
Thank you.
You're not making excuses. You're like, okay, I'm turning pain to purpose so I can show others to do the same. And that is so, like, I love seeing you shine. And I just feel so grateful to be on this journey. And also just to know that you get it. Like, I always look forward to getting to talk with you because when you can connect with somebody who understands the
Mm,
pain that you go through and maybe the situations, it's like you can exhale. It's like, oh,
yes.
you too, you
Yes.
understand me. Like you
Yes.
give me grace because you've been there. You understand. You've been in the bathroom sick. You're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, Amberly, I get it.
Totally.
I've been there. Yep.
Too many times, unfortunately, but yeah, that's exactly it. And I think that's why it's so important, especially for the listeners right now, that have been dealing with chronic pain or invisible illness, and they're just struggling because they don't know how to react and even how do other people support them. Maybe you can speak about, Amberly, how did your immediate family, because once you started being open with them and explaining to them what you were going through, but how can they also support you? Because if you look fine, they might not feel like they have to do anything for you, but like, how can others support you in this journey?
Oh, well, it makes me emotional to think about this because I hate I mean, and hate's a four-letter word in our family, but I think the thing I hate the most about this stupid CRPS, and I say stupid because it is, it's
It is.
baffling. It's cunning, baffling. No one quite understands it.
Mm,
But what I hate the most is how I feel like it's robbed me of freedom
mm,
sometimes to do the things that I really want to do. But with that being said, sometimes, my family, who I'm just so blessed to have an amazing family, that we have learned to laugh about situations. Humor has been a huge part of my healing journey, but also when you have others that can sometimes think outside the box when you can't do it
mm,
yourself. Like, for instance, there was one day I was in the kitchen with my husband and I said, "Oh, what a shame. What a shame. Ruby, my daughter, wants to go for a run with me. Like, she loves to run and she wants me to
mm,
go for a run." And I used to love, that was my favorite thing to do, run. I would run everywhere
mm.
just because it just gave me joy. It gave me, if I was anxious, it gave me peace. If I was depressed, it made me feel happy. Running was
Go
it was, I
to.
guess, it was my drug of choice, I guess you could say. And my husband goes, "Well, so you can't run with her, ride your bicycle beside
Mm,
her." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, well, I could do that." There's always something else you can do. But with my family supporting me, I don't like to complain. When I actually do complain about something, most people would already be in the hospital about it. Like, there was a time my daughter and I loved to horse around, and we were wrestling and horsing around, and she's pretty strong, stronger than me and now. And we were wrestling, and I did a face plant on the coffee table. Head hit, split my eye open. Blood was everywhere. She's like, "Oh, mom, oh my gosh, there's blood everywhere." And I'm like, "Oh gosh, get the super glue." Like, my head split open, and I'm like, "Just get the super glue." And my husband comes over, he goes, "What did y'all do now?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's nothing.
mm,
Let's just get the glue." He's like, "Oh my gosh, no, I got to take you to the emergency room. Your head, you need stitches."
mm,
And I get to the emergency room and I'm like, he's like, "Well, we're going to have to numb you up and give you some stitches." I'm like, "Oh, just skip the numbing. Just stitch me up really quick." That's the kind of person I am. Like, I don't like to complain. So when I do, it's really bad.
yeah.
And how my family has learned to support me is, my husband can look at my eyes and know
Mm,
you're not right. He will call me out because I will keep pushing through. There was one time I was speaking at an event and I was going to the VIP dinner the night before, and I was about to take an Uber to go to the event. And he looks at me, goes, "You do
mm,
not need to be going to this event. Like, you don't look good.
yeah.
Do not go. I can tell you are in so much pain. You are not." And I listened to him and I was like, "Okay, you're right." And I had to call and tell them, "Hey, I want to be rested to show up to your event fully tomorrow. So I'm going to skip the VIP dinner." I do not like doing that kind of stuff, but they were understanding. My daughter can see when I'm in pain. And at the store, like at Target, she's like, "Mom," I won't say a word, but she can tell.
Mm,
She'll say, Mom, go sit over there." Or she'll say, "Mom, stand on one leg like this." So they're always thinking of solutions for me.
mm,
Or we'll be out and my husband like, "Go sit down, Amberly. Go." Or he doesn't say anything, but he'll go grab me a chair.
mm,
He doesn't give me the option. He picked me up from the airport and he's like, "No, get in the back so you can put your leg up." Like,
mm,
those type of things.
yeah.
They feel helpless because they know they can't fix the pain, but I know they're there. One of the most supportive things that my husband does is, he'll know I'll be in my office on back to back to back to calls. He'll send me a text, "I got food for you. It's in the fridge."
Less.
You know, Last night I'm up late. He's like, "Honey, go to bed, like,
Mm,
get some rest. So these little things, he knows he can't fix it, but he'll drive me to the ER.
mm,
He will tell me to sit down. He'll remind me to rest. He'll call me out when he can tell like I'm pushing too hard. So those types of things, just knowing that they're there,
mm,
really help. I don't know about you, but I've tried every kind of treatment
Mm.
from ketamine infusion, spinal stimulator twice, Eastern, Western medicine. At one point, I was 73 homeopathic pills and 11 prescription medications a day. I've tried everything from having a man chant over me and drip oil on my head, uh, I, people saying prayers over me, putting their hands on me, praying. I mean, I've tried everything you can imagine. Woo woo stuff, Eastern, Western, like people think it's crazy. I was a good candidate for any snake oil salesman that would say I can get you out of
Really?
pain. And the one thing that I do I try not to get annoyed because I know it's coming from a good place, but somebody will say, "Oh, well, have you tried
Sure.
acupuncture?"
Mm.
I'm like, "Oh, yeah." Tried massage. Oh, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't necessarily like when people say, "Oh, have you tried these little patches you put on?" Like,
Mm.
I've tried it all. I just need to know you're there. That helps the most.
Yeah, that's it. That's very true. Yeah, look, we're coming in through our time here, but I would really love for you to touch on your pacer method. I think that would be amazing for people to understand how one of these tools that you've created has helped you and can help them as well. It definitely helps me.
Oh, well, thank you. I try to share what I do and what helps me because we're all different. What helps me might not necessarily help you, but if we can share these tools and
Mm.
get something, a little something from each tool. But this is actually something that I use every day, and it's called the PACER methodology. And I'll just go through it quickly. And then also, I will give you a link that you can share maybe in the show notes or
Awesome.
however you're going to share it so people can download my free downloadable tap into your resilience playbook, and it gives
Awesome.
this methodology. It's
Thank
also
you.
in my book. For the first time I wrote about it in the book, but PACER stands for perspective, acceptance, community, endurance, and rest. And all of these things, if I'm hurting too much, if I'm sad, if I'm anxious, if I'm worried, or if I want to throw in the towel, I go through this PACER methodology, and it helps me to move through pain or anxiety or sadness. And the first thing I do is shift my perspective because believe me, oh, we put up Christmas decorations last night and I spent hours climbing up a ladder and on my feet
Oh.
and I was hurting so bad
Mm.
last night. And this morning when I wake up every day in pain. So the easiest way to get out of the negative mindset or go down that spiraling, like I can go into despair or sadness or self-pity, I
Mm.
shift my perspective with gratitude. And it's the first thing I do every single morning. I get on my knees and pray. And I thank God for another day that I can get up out of bed, that I can
Mm.
breathe, that I have people that I get to talk to you. You were on my gratitude list this morning that I got to talk with you today. But gratitude shifts everything. It's the
Mm.
quickest and easiest way that you can shift your perspective. It really allows you to focus on what you can't do instead of what you can do and what you do have instead of what you don't have.
Mm.
It's alchemy. I practice it every day because I know it can sometimes be hard when you're going through a challenging circumstance, but I write down what I'm grateful for and I share it with a group of ladies. We call ourselves the God Squad and we share our gratitude practice because I need that accountability too to
Mm.
help me with that. Um, being in acceptance, that's the next part of the PACER methodology. And we talked about how powerful acceptance is earlier. I mean, the truth will set you free. Acceptance is the beginning of any transformation, whether it's in your health, your relationship, your finances, your career, whatever you're going through. Take a good hard look and get radically honest with yourself.
Mm.
Ask yourself, how's that working for you? Because everything that you do, it's going to move you closer to your goal. I mean, look, and that's closer to your goal with your health.
Mm.
Don't know. I can't open a bag of Doritos because I can eat the whole bag. Like I can. I have to admit
Yeah.
that. But is that moving me closer to my health goals or further
Mm.
away? Uh,
Mm.
so get radically honest with yourself. I'm sober. I got sober by the grace of God in 2016. I would not be sober if I didn't take a good hard look at myself. I started drinking. after my accident and I could not get out of pain. When
Mm.
I got in radical acceptance of where I was, it allowed me to not only get sober, but being in acceptance for where you are on your journey allows you to connect with the right community, which is the next part of Pacer. I think community and
Mm.
connection probably are the most important part of Pacer because yes, we're strong alone, but together we're unstoppable.
Yes.
When you have that connection, and I think that community and connection is the key to success.
Mm.
You don't have to do it alone. If you can take anything away from this interview, this episode today, ask for help. Don't do it alone. Asking for help is what allowed me to get sober. It saved my life because I was in a place where I didn't want to keep going. I thought my husband can find a better wife, my kids can find a better mom, another mother, another wife. And it wasn't until I reached out for help and started to have a community around me that I was able to move forward. And because it takes endurance, especially as an entrepreneur,
Mm.
especially when you are dealing with a chronic illness or an invisible illness or in pain every single day.
Yeah.
And endurance is really where your passion and your perseverance comes into play, and ask yourself why you want to get up again, why it is that you want to do the thing that you want to do. For me, what allowed me to get out of the hospital bed and walk again when I was told I'd never walk again, and work again when I was told I would never work again, I'd be permanently disabled.
Mm.
I focused on my daughters. I wanted to be an example of resilience for them. When I was in the hospital bed, I had a why. I had a purpose of making phone calls to clients. I couldn't get out of the bed at that moment, but I could still write out coaching programs, nutritional plans, exercise programs. I could still make connections for people. So I had a purpose.
So,
And the last part is R for rest and recovery. And I want to just call this the PACE method, like pace through pain, pace through struggles. No, I had to add the R and become a pacer through challenges because I learned over and over and over again being hospitalized, being in ICU because I was pushing through a kidney infection that I went septic. That rest and recovery is so important. If you really want to be resilient, then sometimes you have to strategically stop and plan times to rest and recover. I have a timer on my phone that reminds me to get off my computer and my phone and start winding down, that it's
mm.
bedtime. When I sleep, I have a night ritual. And I think the best way to prepare yourself for the best day is the day before. And so the day before, I brain dump and I put everything on sticky notes of the things that I need to do for to have the most productive day. I prepare for the week ahead on Sundays so I don't have to stress and run around like crazy trying to figure things out.
Mm.
And I drink my tea. I light candles. I get off of my computer. As much as I want to email that person back, I'm like, no, it's time to shut it down.
Mm.
And so resting, I think even if you go to a conference and you look in the hallway, there are people that have their phone plugged into any outlet they can find in the hallway. When your phone dies, what do? You're like, I got to charge this thing. I got to find an outlet to reboot my phone and my computer or whatever it is. We have to do that for ourselves. We have to plan times to rest. So even when I have a day like I have today, where I'm back to back to back, I have 15 minutes. I will go outside and get some sun on my face, take my dog for a walk, just close my eyes and get into prayer for a moment. Get up, move my body because moving your body moves your mood. And I'm not talking about having to lift heavy weights or do anything, but just moving. doing a meditation at night before I go to sleep. I'm not good at that, so I use an app that guides me through it.
Mm.
But all these things to be more resilient. And I hope that the next time you're going through a struggle, that you remind yourself that you can shift your perspective, accept where you are, reach out and build your community, or reach out and serve. Tap into your endurance by realizing that you do have purpose, and allow that passion to push you forward. But remember to rest and refuel and recover so that you can be resilient.
Wow, that's beautiful, Amberly. I mean, you're amazing. Like all of that together. You're such a light, you know.
You
Thank you
are
so
such a
much for
light.
sharing that.
I'm so
No,
grateful for you.
no, you have no idea how grateful I am for you. Just, you know, hearing you back then and now being here with you, that's just a full circle moment for me. I'm still gonna have to meet you in person, but that's coming definitely next year. It's in the
Yes, I
plans.
can't wait to hug your neck. I was
Oh.
just thinking that. Like,
Mm.
I put April 30th
Uh,
on
uh,
your calendar.
yes, it's already by faith in my calendar. I
Okay,
saw
put
it
it in your
today.
calendar. I would love to see you for my Unstoppable Success Summit event, where we're doing it totally different. I'm doing it, I'm thinking of ways to give back. And I was speaking at an event in Sioux Falls and met a lady who runs Call to Freedom. It's a organization for women who've unfortunately been um, they've been a victim of human trafficking,
Mm,
and it's a way to give back to them, to help them with food, shelter, safety. And so the event's going to be very reasonable. It's like $30 a ticket to get in, and all
mm,
proceeds go towards Call to Freedom. So
mm.
I would love to see you there, and you would know a lot of the people that on Zoom from our coaching call that are going to be there, and it would just
Oh.
be so awesome to get to hug your neck.
Yeah, no, I can't wait in that communities. That's what exactly what you're saying. It's so important for me. I felt just part. I just like identify with you so much with everything that you've gone through, and you keep going. The fact that you keep trusting God to push you through and pull you through and see you through really does shine a light to all of us. And I'm really grateful for all your work, for being so personable, you know, even when your messages and I mean, I was like, gosh, she has so many people, but she still takes time for me, little me. So I
Oh,
really
little
am
you.
grateful.
No, are you
Yes.
kidding? This is an honor. I
Oh,
know why
Amberly.
people love your show. It's because you're
Mm.
so amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. How can people get in touch with you, Amberly? What's the best way?
The best way is probably amberlylago.com is where all my books are, my events, coaching programs, and free assets there that you can grab. And then if you want to see some of the behind the scenes shenanigans, especially with my little pup Nugget, who
Adorable.
is loving our Christmas tree, all the
Oh
balls.
no.
He thinks
It's a
that those are
childhood.
toys, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh,
But that's
geez.
on Instagram at Amberly Lago Motivation. And
Okay.
yeah, you can find my podcast on my website too. So I'd love to connect, reach out to me. I love to hear from you. And you know what? Screenshot this and
Yes.
tag us. Let's shower some love for this podcast
Oh,
and
thank
show
you.
our support. And I will definitely share this on my social media as
Oh,
well.
I
I just
appreciate
appreciate you
it.
having me on.
No, I appreciate it as well. And everyone, look, Joy Through the Journey. Please go get your
Oh,
copy. It's an amazing book. You will find it. You'll find like it's a manuscript for yourself, for your life. And you'll see it's a blueprint as well to finding joy in your journey. Amberly, once again, thank you so much. I'm honored to have you here. And may God bless and keep you. And see you soon, please God. Bye for now.
thank you.
This was the Michele Roys Show.